Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unleashing Potentials podcast. So, joining me today is Tanya. Tanya, where in the world are you? Where in the States?
I am in Spartanburg, South Carolina.
Oh, nice. Are you guys getting some of the smokes that we've been getting here?
No,
Okay, that's
not
good.
not yet. I don't know if we will or not, but not yet.
Yeah, it's been getting better. It's not as bad as it was because it's
Well,
nice and
that's
sunny
good.
here. Yeah, yeah. Welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited to have you on to share.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Come back anytime. Yeah, so let's start by you telling us who you are, what you do.
Well, I am Latonya Littlejohn. I'm an author. I have my own podcast that I just recently started through the Crew podcast. My podcast is Delayed but Not Denied. My podcast is entitled Delayed but Not Denied. It airs the second Monday and fourth Friday of every month at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I open my platform to any and everybody. My platform is disabilities, but I'm open to anybody.
Hmm. Oh, I love that. How did you come up with the name and what does it mean to you?
So I wrote a book with the same title, Delayed but Not Denied.
Mm.
So oftentimes we plan for something, but it's delayed. But that doesn't mean that God has denied it. So, if we just hold tight and believe in what He has ordained for our lives, everything will come to pass.
Mhm. Oh, I love that. I love that. Um, Give me a few example how you had to keep on having faith in God throughout your life.
Well, first thing, I was born with a disability. I was born with spina bifida, which is a curving of the spine. I was adopted.
Hmm.
Um, let's see, I became a teenage mom. I had my son at 16. So, my faith in God has always been pretty strong. He's kept me through a lot of things.
Hmm. Hmm. Thank you for sharing that. Um, I was also a teenage mom, and I know the the stigma that comes with it, as if sometimes it's our choice or as if it's a pleasure to get pregnant very young.
Right.
I know
Right.
for many they don't plan it. It happens, and
Right.
it's a decisions that they have to live with and make.
Right.
Can you tell me more of your story relating to your pregnancy as a teenager?
Well, I was told because of my disability that I would never have children.
Mm-hmm.
And so, getting pregnant wasn't, something I had planned because, again, I was told that I couldn't. So when I found out I was pregnant, I got pregnant at 15 and I had him at 16. Um, it was a lot. It was a lot. His father was a teenager as well. So, just trying to get through all of that and give my son the life that I felt like he deserved.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Um, what is it like living with the disability that you have? I've heard of the name. I don't know what it is, but after you share, I'll share my experience with spine issues.
Okay, so spina bifida is a spine issue. It's a
Mm-hmm.
curvature of the spine. Um, so with that, I started walking late. I didn't, most babies start walking before their first birthday. I was maybe 3 or 4 when I started walking. Um, I walk with a slight limp. Um, I have um, kidney issues, bladder problems. Um, I have what they call a neurotic bladder, which means I have no control over or feeling when I have to use the restroom or anything like that. So that's a
Mhm.
part of the spina bifida.
Thank you for sharing. And I love that you're creating a platform for disability
Right,
and that anyone can come to share because so many of us have all types of disabilities, but we're ashamed of it. We get criticized and we don't really talk about it or get help. So when I
right,
meet powerful women like you that are creating a platform for any voices to come. I find it truly inspiring. I want to thank you, even though you haven't invited me to your podcast yet. I know you will soon.
I will. I will. I
Yeah,
definitely will.
yeah. So I have spine issues too. Mine started 3, 4 years ago. They still don't know what's wrong, but there's a little curve in my spine at the bottom of it, and pinched nerve in the disc was shifted. So
Right,
it's been a lot, and some people don't understand the impact of chronic pain or any type of chronic illnesses
right,
until it happens to them. Then they can
right,
relate. That's why I love what you do because you're giving people examples, real life examples of the real struggles that we all face with disabilities.
right.
hmm Yeah, what type of guests do you get on your podcast?
Um, oh wow. I have an array of people. I've had a lady that was on whose son killed her husband.
Mm,
Um, just is my platform is open. So, anybody that has something that they want to share, that they, want to get off their chest, or they feel may be beneficial to someone else that may be going through what they're going through, my platform is open. Like I don't turn anybody away.
hmm Well, I want to thank you for that because things are getting more open and expanded, I find, with podcasters or authors or coaches, because
Right,
for the longest time we focused on one specific category. We were professional in it, and we don't really open up to have others to share. So I thank you for doing that as well.
you're welcome.
Yeah. So you were adopted. Can you tell me more of your adoption story?
So I was born to a teenage mom. My
Okay.
mom already had my brother,
Yeah.
and she had some disability issues herself. And
hmm
so not having the help that she needed, to get the care that I needed, she gave me up for adoption, thinking, she would be able to allow me a chance at life that she wouldn't have been able to provide for me.
Yeah.
So I got adopted at 17 months old. Um,
hmm
I went into a family where the couple was older. All of my first cousins are 10, 15 years older than me. So I had no one, my age to play with, or, things of that nature. So in that aspect, it was kind of hard. But I had, for the most part, I had a decent life.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Did you ever reconnected with your bio mom?
Yes, I found my biological family in 2010. Um, I met them over Facebook. I found them on Facebook. And
Wow.
so, yeah, Facebook can be what you make of it. It doesn't have to be anything negative. There's a lot of positives that come along with Facebook if you allow it. So,
Mhm.
I met my biological family on Facebook, and then I met them face to face a few months after that in 2010.
Wow. That's so incredible. And that wasn't that long ago, if I'm thinking about
No,
it. Oh my
yeah,
goodness. I'm so happy for you and your family.
thank you.
That's beautiful to see. I interviewed a young lady as well. She was adopted and she ended up finding relatives on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and they've been together. So Yeah, you're right. Social media can be used for good stuff or for bad,
Right.
right? Yeah,
Right.
that's really cool. Yeah, so you mentioned on your bio that you got married at 23,
Yes.
and you became a bonus mom. Can you tell what is a
Yes.
bonus mom? Tell me more.
So I got married at 23. When my husband and I got married, I already had a son and he had a daughter. And we
Mm,
don't use the word step in our household, so she's my bonus daughter. Um she
mhm,
fights me on bonus daughter too. She just wants to be my daughter, but I have to respect her mom too. So,
mhm.
she's my bonus baby.
Oh, I love that. I've never heard of it that way, but I love what it stands for in your family. Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
really cool. Can you tell me more about your books? How many books do you have?
Um I have one that I've written by myself. I
Hmm.
have one that I co-authored with my son.
Hmm.
Um and about 5 or 6 anthologies.
Oh, okay, that's really cool. What is anthology?
Anthologies are a group of stories by um, a group of different people sharing their stories and combining them into one book.
Oh, okay, okay. When I saw that word, I thought of dinos or bones or something or scientist. Yeah, that's the only place I've seen that word. That's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
You said you became a podcaster this year. How long has it been? January, February, or
I want to say April.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Um, do you get nervous podcasting? What is your system that you use?
I Every show I'm nervous. I am every show I'm nervous. Um just being able to have a conversation and have it flow in a way that it doesn't look like Q&A, where it's just a conversation, and trying to make sure that my guest is comfortable, all of that, and trying to calm my own nerves and such. So yeah, every time I go live I get nervous.
Oh, you do. I think you'll get better at it.
I hope so.
You have the story, the talent, and I know you're gonna excel.
Thank you.
And it's coming from your heart. When anything
Right.
comes from the heart, we can be nervous, but over time it becomes natural.
Right.
I sort of get nervous, but I don't at the same time. It's weird.
Mhm. I
uh,
understand.
yeah, with the medications I'm on, my emotion is flatline. I could be yelling. I think it's fine. I could be, I don't know. I just don't have a bone in my body to impress people anymore.
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. It
I
takes a
feel
lot
the
of
same
guts to
way.
get there. Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. Tell me more. Are you a grandparent?
Yes. My son has a daughter. She'll be 3 in September.
Oh wow, that's so
Yeah,
cool.
she's a sweet little girl. That's my baby. That's my heart. Um,
Mhm.
I don't get to see her, every day or anything like that. Her mom, they moved to Tennessee. So,
Mhm.
they're a few hours away, but my son gets her every other weekend, and so when he gets her, I go to his house and spend time with her.
Mhm. Yeah, that's really cool. I love kids.
Me
They
too.
they bring so much healing and joy. And I find through kids I can always see myself in them. It's annoying and
Right.
beautiful.
Right.
Yeah, and they remind me of how I was and how I
Yeah.
should be. Even though as adults, all of us have inner child that
Right.
that should always be out, but we don't always have that out.
Absolutely.
So, what is the Crew podcast? Is that a podcast company, and then your podcast is what is it?
So the crew is ran by Angela Thomas Smith and
Okay.
Hezekiah Walker and Tamala Lucas. They're HTA. They put
Mm.
together the crew, and we are a group of 11 different hosts with 11 different platforms.
Oh, wow. And you kind of bring it together?
Yes.
I've never heard that before. That's really cool. And you
Yeah.
guys support each other and
Yes.
oh,
It's
wow.
like one big family. Everybody has their own night to go
Mhm.
on and share, with the world.
Yeah, that's really cool. I hope that those kind of groups keep getting bigger because there are so
Amen.
many people who want to share, but they feel afraid. They don't know what they're doing, but they do have
Right.
passion and desire. So any type of community is really nice to see.
Right.
So do you go live on YouTube?
Yes. It's
I can
live
see why
on
you're
it,
nervous.
yeah, it's live on YouTube, it's live on Facebook. U42. Um there's so many different places where it goes live.
That's really cool. Um, I like pre-recording most of the time.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it takes a lot of power to do anything live because anything can happen.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Tell me something interesting about you that I would not know as a stranger.
Um So my my adoption was closed. I wasn't supposed to find my biological family.
Ooh.
Um, a letter was sent to my mom that raised me, and I found it and I kept it, and
Mhm,
that is how I learned my biological mother's name. And so time went on, and I started searching, and then I got married, and I knew the area from where they were, and
mhm,
I just started looking, and I stumbled on Facebook. I joined Facebook in 2008, and so I
mhm.
found them in 2010.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are so many adoptees around the world in the States and Canada where I am. And I always find that there are common grounds and things to relate to. And one thing that we seek is answers.
Hmm.
And we all want to know where we came from and to be loved and accepted as
Right.
adoptees. Yeah, I was doing a previous interview. We're talking about how society reminds adoptees that they're adopted. It's
Right.
something I've had to face. It depends on the person.
Right.
Sometimes we're looked down upon, like we're secondhand or not needed, when really
Right.
that's not the truth. I mean, we already go around feeling like crap about ourselves when people keep bringing it up and like it's not needed,
Right.
right? What are your
Right.
thoughts on that?
Um, Being adopted gives you a sense of not belonging.
Mm,
It makes you feel like um you were not wanted in your biological family, and it makes you feel like the adoptive family really don't really want you in a way that you desire to be wanted. So it's kind of hard both ways.
yeah, yeah, you're right. And these are battles we will continue to fight even as
Right.
parents, right? And not everyone understand that pain or where it's coming from. They assume
Right.
that they do. They sometimes make comments without asking or seeking to understand.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm not against adoption. I always say I'm not, but I tell people if you cannot give a child the world, then don't adopt
Right.
them, abuse them, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I definitely agree with that. Adoption. should be, I mean, if you're going to adopt a child, treat that child as you would if it came from your body. You know, there shouldn't be any you know, you shouldn't mistreat a child no matter where they come from, but if you choose to adopt, then that child needs a little extra love because, you know, they're coming from another family and not knowing why, or, you know, not
Mhm, mhm,
being told what the situation is. So they're, you know, they're roaming the world feeling unloved and uncared for.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, you're right. And I'm still one of those child.
Me too.
Right? Yeah, because I know my bio family,
Hmm.
and some are in Canada, some are not. But there's always that disconnection. And answers that I'll always ask myself, even though I hear the answers to them from family members. There will
Right.
always be pieces of me missing, even though I'm
Right.
looking for them. Yeah. What would you say to anyone who is looking to adopt? You
Oh
kind of already
gosh.
shared. You kind of already shared, but what would you say to them?
Um, if you're going to adopt, be all in.
Mhm,
That's not something that you can have step with. You can't adopt a baby and then, or a child or whatever, and not be all in. You can't have this child in your home and mistreat them, or, you know, treat them in a way that you wouldn't treat your own biological children. And if, you know, if you're not going to be all in, then I wouldn't advise adopting a child at all.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Um, what are your thoughts on what agencies or governments can do to prevent kids from going to the wrong homes?
I think that they should do extensive background checks.
Mhm,
I don't think that they dig hard enough,
mhm,
because so many children are being adopted and being abused, and you know, used for government money and things of that nature. So
mhm.
I think that they should definitely dig deeper into background checks.
Yeah, yeah, because no human being should be used as a form of transaction.
Right,
We're worth way more than that, and
right,
we should be seen as everybody else. Speaking
absolutely.
of, I'm gonna go there. Ready?
Ready?
Okay, let's talk about biracial adoption. It could be both
Okay.
ways. Black adopting white, white adopting black kids. Let's go there. What has been your experience, and what would you like to share on that?
I don't have any experience with it, but I
Mm-hmm.
will say if you're going to adopt a child that is not the same ethnicity as you should
Mm-hmm.
definitely learn their heritage and, you know, how to um, show them where they come from. Definitely, that's
Mm-hmm.
important that they don't lose their identity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. Um, because especially kids that were adopted as babies.
Right,
I have a sister in Belgium. She was adopted there. Thank goodness she knows me and my other siblings who are older, who knew her when she was young and were in contact with her. But she has so many questions that I end up having to answer or ask my mom about. But when someone is adopted as a baby, they don't have that extra resources or family members to look to. It
right.
can truly be a nightmare because
Yes,
they grow up not knowing who they are. An
right,
example would be I've talked to people that were adopted as babies. They don't know the language. They know the country where they're from. It's on the map in the globe. You can find it.
right.
They don't know the music, the culture, nothing. Yeah, so like you said, I think it's important to not take away that from them.
Right. I mean, if you're going to adopt a child of a different race, nationality, you should definitely instill in them where they come from, their background, their heritage, their culture. Period. I mean, don't erase their who they are, their identity.
Yeah. Um, let's talk about secrets.
Okay.
uh, when people adopt kids, they don't tell them they were adopted,
Right.
and then they end up finding out they were adopted, and
Right.
there's resentment or
Right.
hatred towards the
Right.
people who did not tell them.
Right.
What are your thoughts?
Um, that was indeed my situation.
Mm,
But the thing of it was, I remembered being adopted. I remember being in the foster home.
mm,
And I remember spending weekends with the people that adopted me. And, as I got older, I would look at them and I don't look like anybody. And so, I started asking questions. And it wasn't until I had my son and he started having seizures that they told me the truth, because seizures didn't run in my son's father's side of the family. So, they had to tell me where it came from.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I can only imagine what that was like,
It
not
was
knowing.
hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, not knowing, and waking up every day trying to figure out answers that you may not be able
Right.
to find. Yeah. You mentioned you were in the foster system. I was too. I was in the foster care system. Oh
It was
man.
a horrible experience.
Oh yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah. It's everywhere, and it's sad. It's really sad. I can
Yeah.
talk to people from any continent,
Right.
and them telling me their experience of being in foster care, orphanages, adoption, whatever it may be. Clearly something's wrong. Something's
Right.
up, something's wrong. Not many people are willing to put their hand in the shit to clean it, to help people,
Right.
because it's there, it's happening. Do you think there should be separate legislations or different laws that makes people pay that abuse any adoption rules or kids?
Absolutely. Again, like, how if you adopt a pet and you mistreat the child
Mm.
and the pet, and you go to prison. I feel like they should do the same thing with humans. Like,
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
are in a situation where you're in a foster home and you're being mistreated, and then you get adopted and you're being mistreated, the same rules that apply for adopting a pet should apply definitely for people.
yeah, yeah. And often people just get by with it.
Right.
Either nothing's done about it in the court system or authorities, nothing.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah,
then,
it
yeah,
gets swept under the rug a lot.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That I think we're both on a mission to remove that rug
Right.
so people can see what's underneath it, because
Exactly.
we have been underneath it. At times we
For a
still
long time.
experience it. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's suffocating. Just knowing that we're hurting. Not everyone's willing to listen, especially
Right.
those in authority, right?
Right.
Yeah. So do you have any regrets in your life? I think all of us do.
Um, I I regret that I had to be adopted. I um I I have some regret with finding my biological family. My mom, she passed away in 2014. I regret that I didn't find her sooner so that I could spend more time with her. Although, I am grateful for the 3 years and 11 months that we did have together. Um, yeah, I live with a lot of regrets about different things. But nonetheless, it's all life lessons and you can't change any of it. So you just have to go with the flow.
Yeah, yeah. And not be drowned by the flow.
Right, right,
Yeah, yeah. I can tell you that you're not alone. Uh, in case guilt is eating your life, all the regrets.
Right.
I live with so much regrets, it's ridiculous. It's working through it. It's realizing that we're flawed, we're human, we're,
Right.
we're gonna hurt, we're gonna hurt others, and we just gotta learn from it. So you're not alone. And I know there
Right.
are people watching or listening. My gosh, if they start to unbury all the regrets, it will drown them. Um,
Right.
yeah. How do you continue to take care of your mental well-being? Because all of us have some form of mental stuff. Some are diagnosed, some are not.
Um, so I have a therapist,
Mhm,
and I'm also on medication, because it's needed.
mhm,
I I have to talk out my issues, and that's the only way that I know to heal.
mhm, mhm, mhm. Yeah. I'm proud of you for knowing what you need to do to work through it. And believe me, all of us have our own issues.
Right.
um, some are just easy to point out what our issues are without pointing out what
Right.
their issues are, right?
Right.
Yeah, good on you for seeing a therapist. So many people don't want to see one.
Yeah. My therapist, I absolutely love her.
Mhm,
We just got started, but she is so involved and she
mhm,
cares, and that means more to me than anything, because some of these therapists, they just get paid to listen, and they don't, tell you what you need to do to make your situation better,
mhm.
but she listens.
Yes, yes, you're right. And hang on to her because they're hard to find.
Right.
Yeah, I've talked to some amazing therapists. I can tell they listen. It's just hard to find based on what the person is going through.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So who do you look up to? Who is your inspiration?
um to be honest, my son,
Mm,
he moves in a way that is carefree.
mhm,
um he doesn't let a lot of things bother him,
mm,
things of the world that he can't, control or whatever. He doesn't allow it space to change him. And so I look up to him, because I tell him often, I want to be like you, because I worry about things that are out of my control, and he doesn't.
mm. Wow, that's so
Yeah.
beautiful to hear you saying that. That means you're doing something right. You did something right to have raised him that way.
Right.
Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
my son is 6. I look up to him too.
I understand.
Yeah, he's wild, but yeah, I love kids because they bring to a lot of healing in our lives.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Um, so where can my listeners find you if they'd like to get your books and listen to your podcast?
um so my books are all on Amazon. To make it easy, because there are like 5 or 6, maybe 7 books there.
Okay.
Just type in my name in the search bar, Latonya Littlejohn, and all of my books appear.
Mhm,
Um, I'm on Facebook at Latonya Michelle Littlejohn. I'm
mhm,
on Instagram. I am Tanya Littlejohn.
mhm,
Um, my podcast is on Facebook. Under the Crew Podcast, but my the title of my platform is Delayed But Not Denied. Again, I air every second Monday and every fourth Friday of every month. And
mhm,
I'm always looking for new guests and new opportunities to
mhm,
share, their story, my story, just to help anybody get their voices heard.
mhm. I love that. Well, you're gonna get flooded with people in the next month or more because what you're doing is crucial, and all of us have a story.
Right.
regardless of what we look like, languages we speak, what we like, we all have a story. And I know that people from everywhere is going to want to share their story on your podcast. And I'm so grateful that you connected with me to share your story on the podcast that I
Yes. Thank you
have.
for having me.
You're welcome. Anytime. I tell people this is the playground. You can come talk and chill anytime.
I love that.
Yeah, yeah. Um, are there some books that you like, some other authors you like?
So I'm more of a writer than a reader.
Mm,
I don't read a lot, and I know that's sad, but I don't.
mm,
And I'm trying to get better at that. My best friend Travita Harris has a few books out that I have that I've read. She's a great
mm,
author as well. She's someone that I look up to as far as her writing style and sharing her story, her life, and things like that. So,
mhm.
um, yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you have any final thoughts? Anything we haven't covered that you'd like to share?
just basically, never be ashamed of who you are. Um, God made you the way you are for a reason.
Mm,
Um, your story should be written and shared. Um, and don't make excuses for the life that you live. I mean, whether it be good or bad, flourish in it. I mean, we only have this one life to live, and we have to make the best of it.
mhm, mm. I'm gonna take that and keep hold on to it and keep it.
Yes,
Wow.
ma'am.
Yes. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for everything that you're doing. I'm looking forward to connecting after this and to listen to your podcast.
Absolutely.
Awesome.